What's up, everybody? It's Hardy Construction. Google us! You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, as well as Instagram. But on YouTube, we fight mighty. So if you like us on YouTube, give us a like. Tell people about us. And who gives a shit, really? With your host, Komp, and...
Like father, like son.
Oh, today's film is...
The Fly 2, 1989. Is there no, what was Return of the Fly or
No, that's probably like an old
that?
one or something like that. Return of Superfly. Okay. You know what it should have been? It should have been Flyke Father, Flyke Son, right? That would have been better. Okay.
You're right. No, you're right.
The almost human son of Brundlefly searches for a cure to his mutated genes while being monitored by a nefarious company that wishes to continue his father's experiments. Directed by Chris Wallace.
Nefarious, not nefarious.
I know, I just felt like being a little bit European today. Directed by Chris Wallace, written by, and I was impressed by the writers. I was like, whoa. I was like, okay, maybe this won't be that terrible, but I guess you and I disagree. Written by Mick Garris and Jim Wheat, and I believe Frank Darabont had a hand in it. I was like, when I saw, it did. There's 4 people wrote this, and they didn't know what they were writing, apparently. It was Mick Garris, who...
There's a lot of movies like that.
If you know Mick Garris, he spends a lot of his time directing and adapting Stephen King works. He did The Stand, which I think to this day is still the biggest miniseries on television. But that's back then when there wasn't social media, so...
it was like 8 hours or something.
Yeah, it was 3-parter. But three hours each. So Jim Wheat, I'm not familiar with, nor Ken Wheat. And Frank Darabont, obviously, is an incredible writer and director. He wrote...
Did this director do Gremlins?
No, that's Joe Dante.
Joe Dante did part 2. It says he is well known for his creation of the Gremlins. I'm looking at his wiki.
Who, Mick Garris?
Oh, special effects.
Yeah, no, he's
Chris Wallace.
Oh, Chris Wallace. Oh, yeah, the special effects in this movie. I think. Oh, so if that's the case, this might be one of those. You know how we usually see movies made by special effects guys, and they're in charge of the special effects. Listen, the special effects in the movie are fucking except for a very glaring one. I think the special effects in the movie are great. Anyway, so
we'll get to the
Frank Darabont. Obviously, he wrote he adapted 2 King. I think he's a better adapter at King books than Mick Garris. Mick Garris is a very nice guy.
And Walking Dead.
Yeah, he did Walking Dead. Whatever that is now. But he did, The Green Mile, and he also did The Mist. And so those 4 guys together, and Mick Garris created the storyline for this film. The Fly 2, obviously, it's a sequel to the original The Fly, starring
Jeff Goldblum.
There's always Finds a Way. Oh, God, that was an even worse impersonation I've done before. I'm pretty sure I did a good one back then, but no. The original The Fly, directed by David Cronenberg.
David Cronenberg.
And to me, honestly, The Fly, the remake of the original,
great.
To me, is close to a perfect movie ever made. It might be the most perfect movie I've ever seen.
Really?
Yes, just the way and that it told its story. And the way it was made, like every single scene had a purpose. There was nothing in that scene that felt like for no reason. Even the character.
Well, I rewatched it right before this one, just to and
did it hold up?
No, it's really good. It jumps in. The first second of it is at the meeting when Seth Brundle meets Gina Davis. And so it's it starts immediately, in the middle of...
it is incredible. That is such a good horror film. And I don't rewatch that movie a lot, but I felt like I should watch it again. Just because I remember watching... It's
really good.
Yeah, I think it got a 10 from me last time because it was so good and so well made. But anyway, enough about that. The Fly 2. Why'd you pick The Fly 2?
Because I've always been curious how bad it is.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember being a child.
It wasn't as bad as I thought.
I remember being a child and walking around and seeing standees for The Fly 2, and it was basically the machine. It was basically the machine and then a hand coming out of it. It was just a giant standee, and I was always scared of standee because I was like, I don't want to see this.
I think his design is terrible.
The fly monster is horrible looking. But
it looks nothing like a fly. Why didn't they just use the design?
Well, it's half human and half fly, so...
Yeah, but no, it's actually not.
What upsets me
Seth Brundle was half fly, half human. So this thing is 0.25, or actually less, because he's the product of a half fly having sex with a full human. So he's 12% fly, yet he's
Did
a
he
million
grow wings
times
in the
more.
first one or no?
No,
that's
I
what
don't
really
think
pisses
so.
me off. They never have fucking wings in these fucking movies.
Well, he climbs around on the walls and shit.
They should call
He would have gotten the wings if it kept going.
They should call it the lumberer, not the fucking fly. Anyway, so this movie obviously picks up, I guess, 9 months after the original film. At the opening, after
how long does it take a larva to grow? Probably not 9 months.
So the horrible dream that Gina Davis's character has come to full realization. Seth Brundle's jizz or semen.
Except she got so scared that she changed into a completely different woman.
That's exactly the joke I was going to make. That her facial construction actually changes into a whole new different actress.
Right.
But there are nice nods. It has it has one of the original guys from the first film who was like a sort of quasi antagonist. What's the character's name?
John Getz. It's funny. He starts out as such a douchebag, and you want him to die, but then all of a sudden he's like the hero at the end.
Yeah. Like he's a likable guy because he got he
gets his hand and his feet burned off by vomit.
Yeah, they didn't have a really convincing burnt off hand. He just has a black glove on his hand. He's like fucking Jamie Lannister for some reason. He has like the hand wouldn't be there. Like I don't know what a black hand would be on your like a weird glove would be on whatever. Anyway, and then it's like crumpled up like if you have a fake hand, make it look like a hand that's like
maybe he uses it as a torch. Maybe he dips it in kerosene.
He probably twists it and like music comes on. Right. I don't know what I was thinking when I just said that. Anyway, so the lead, so the film starts out with this birthing. Gina Davis's character, played by somebody else, passes away, and a larva comes out. And I really don't understand the process or
what I don't understand is why didn't they abort it?
No, because they want
for the first movie. I just watched it and I can't even remember.
What's the company
why
called?
not.
Braxton or I literally just saw
she's going to get an abortion, and then Seth comes and kidnaps her, and that's when the final scene happens.
Right. I guess she felt bad for him and figured the kid would be different, but she thought wrong. But anyway, enough of the first one. So I didn't understand the spatial dimensions of this child because it was a giant larva. I mean, it was a small larva, and then it was like a giant, actual 10-pound baby that came out of that.
Well, it's like when a giant butterfly comes out of a little.
Okay, fair enough. So anyway, this baby is born, and there's some evil old man who's the Anton Bartok. That's the guy. Lee Richardson plays him.
I am Bartok.
And so eventually,
doesn't that sound like an orc?
So eventually, they just it's a company that's raising the kid who's Martin, and it's like I was watching the first 10 minutes, I was like, what the fuck is this, like Home Alone? It's like a kid, like a child's movie and shit like that. I was like, this is kind of like lame. And then the kid has like it shows like a little short. I mean, it has good foreshadowing in it. The thing that's good that like
basically like Dexter's Lab.
Frank Darabont does, yeah. And there's a part where he walks around with. You just see him growing up, and like for some reason the people that work for Bartok are like complete pieces of shit to this kid. Like I don't understand why. If you're raising a child, like because he tells him treat him like he's my son. They're treating the kid like shit. The kid didn't.
Well, maybe they hate the boss so much.
Maybe, but I mean, like the kid's not a like piece of shit. I mean, he might come off as a little arrogant because he's sort of bored of everything. But like, they're like hastily injecting him with water and just being bastards to him for no reason. That's why they get.
Yeah, at one point the lady like is a real asshole.
Yeah, because she's nice in the first 5 minutes, and then she becomes a total bitch, and you're like, what's wrong with you? At least the skinny guy, he's an asshole through and through.
It didn't really make sense. I think it was more like bad writing.
I guess so, yeah. They stuck with, I guess, the bad parts of that fucking script. Anyway, so eventually he grows up, and I guess that little fucking weird helmet the kid has on is supposed to look like a fly head or something. Anyway, and then we see how the humanity of the kid, because the only friend he has is like a dog he meets in one day, and then he's
a fly, but he's just like me.
He befriends a cute golden retriever, or is that a lab? I always fuck up. I think it was a golden retriever.
I think it was a golden retriever.
So he befriends a golden retriever, and then they decide to mutate the fucking dog using the Bartok.
Well, they didn't mean to mutate it. They were
trying to transport one dog to the other side, and the dog turns into a fucking super dog or something like some weird dog.
They lost all the data.
I think he destroyed it, right?
Seth did it.
Seth Brundlefly destroyed it. And anyway, so the kid, has his first real sadness, and he thinks the dog is dead. We jump forward. I think it's 5 years later, and he has a very rapid aging. acceleration. Like
he's like Robin Williams, except he doesn't kill himself at the end.
Holy Lord! I was about to do a Robin Williams impersonation, and I thought that was like, that's too over the top. And so at 11 months, he looks like he's.
I feel so bad that I said
At 11
that.
months, he looks like 2 years or 3 years old and stuff like that. And 5 years old, he looks like he's 25 or something like, or 20. He's played by when they show him first as a little kid at 11 months, it's the worst dubbing because they have somebody dubbing the kid's voice and it's like horrible. Anyway, so then the middle kid is actually a better actor, but then it go and sharply into about 15 minutes in, he is played by actor Eric Stoltz.
Eric Stoltz.
And Eric Stoltz is weird because Eric Stoltz, I think, is a good actor. I'm sure I've seen him and stuff, but what they did with this film and Fly 2, because like Fly 1 is a science fiction body horror film, and this becomes a body horror midway. Like it just sort of rapidly happens. Like throughout the Fly 1, since it's such a tight film,
it becomes really silly about halfway.
It's like a tight 90 minutes, and this movie is about an hour and 40 minutes long, so it's like much longer. I think it's probably 10 minutes longer or something, but that 10 minutes feels like the longest 10 minutes. And they don't know what to do with this film. And Eric Stoltz is like so bland in the movie. He's like, I don't give a fuck about him. And the thing is, what worked with the first movie is that Jeff Goldblum is so like charismatic and weird.
His Judaism is very attractive.
That's what I thought too. You know what I was thinking? It was so funny. Like if they had, that golden retriever, like, what if it's like very precise things? Like, if a person goes in with a fly, it turns into a fly person. What if like somebody accidentally dropped in like the Talmud with the dog in there, and then he comes out and he's like converted into Judaism, and the dog has like a yarmulke.
His hair forms a yarmulke on top of his head.
Yeah. The dog's just like, they hand him like a pork bone and goes, no thanks. And his that's very racist. Anyway, so I mean, like that's what worked with the first film. Jeff Goldblum is such a he's just like a fun weirdo.
Gina Davis is amazing too.
Yeah, they're both good because they're very compelling people. And these ones, they have like very bland.
They have Princess Vesta though from or is it Vespa?
Yeah, it is. It's like the funny. I didn't know she was Jewish line. That's a good line. Like Eric Stoltz is very bland. Daphne Zuniga, you can see like a lot of girls in the 80s, they looked like Daphne Zuniga, and Daphne Zuniga, a very memorable name. Yeah, and I had a crush on her on Spaceballs, but like I think she was like in Models Inc. or Melrose Place. I think she was probably in.
I honestly only know her from Spaceballs. And
yeah, fair enough. But I mean, like she was big like in the late 80s, early 90s. And then she sort of went wherever, mainstream women, unfortunately, in film and television have like a 10-year lifespan, really, unless they're like Oscar winners, because men are disgusting. They just don't give a fuck. Like I'm any better than that. And it's funny. It shows you how like Eric Stoltz was the original lead of Back to the Future, and
really
he was. They shot half of the film with him. And then when they went to review the film, Steven Spielberg said, "Get him out of this movie." So they replaced.
Really?
They did. There's footage of him like doing Michael J. Fox's scene. And Eric Stoltz is very much a moody actor. Like to me, I was like, this guy, like he's boring in the film until because you were telling me, "Oh, watch this hotel scene. It's going to turn to shit." And I thought I thought
it was the funniest thing.
I thought that was the best acting he did in the movie. Like that was
really?
Like actual acting in the film, like because he was fucked up.
I just thought it was like the script was absurd.
Well, yeah, it's very stupid.
I mean, when you think about it, it just makes no logical sense because he's like a normal guy. Now he's like in the transitional stage, turning into a fly, and all of a sudden he's like a weird evil guy, like rubbing his hands together but then he's a full-on monster and able to recognize his love and not hurt her.
Well, the thing is, I think what it is that he's obviously very cut off from human interaction in the film. Obviously, from a kid up to when he meets Daphne Zuniga's character, and he gets some of that nice scientist ace, and he's like bland. He's like a blank slate. He really has no personality or anything like that. And then when, all this, his body starts changing, he realizes he has like a purpose as something. I don't know what.
That's his puberty.
But that, to me, that scene in the hotel room, I think was the best acting because it actually was like something different than him just being looked.
I don't know. I just burst out laughing. Like, what the fuck is happening?
I was just like,
right
I like woke up when he started acting in that scene because he felt like, and that's like only 5 minutes or 3 minutes into the movie because then he turns into a fucking prosthetic monster later on, a horrible looking.
But like, as he's the horrible monster design, he's able to rationalize and recognize his girlfriend, but as the not horrible monster, he's still a human in the hotel. He's like
even better.
He's like a monster.
Even
it's absurd.
better is that he's a gigantic monster and he takes time to pet a dog on its head. The dog looked like it was shitting bricks.
But he doesn't even look like a fly.
He doesn't.
At all.
I mean, it's just bad.
So, but I'm saying if Jeff Goldblum is 50% fly and he turned into what he turned into, why would this 12% fly turn into?
Well, he's got the full
10 times
did it
more
say
of a monster.
12% on the thing, or because he's like a full fucking
monster? He's half a fly fucking a human woman.
Well, you got to think semen is like blood and protein, right?
Or he's like 25%, whatever the fuck he is. He's a quarter fly.
Oh.
So he should be a human that can walk up walls or something like Spider-Man.
Well, he does jump high. He does all that stuff before he mutates. But obviously, whatever. They were just looking for an excuse to turn him into a big special effect. Here's the thing: the fly monster itself looks fucking terrible. It looks stupid. I don't like that really design. Dumb. Every other special effect in this film looks incredible. Like they get into and I'm pretty queasy with body horror. No, I'm actually not that queasy. I'm more horrible with like
eyes,
arteries and stuff. No, I don't care about eyes.
You know what really bothers me? Webbing of hands and toes.
Getting cut and stuff.
Yeah, say I did somebody taking like picture like toenail cutters and like going into the webbing of a toe.
I remember I was watching.
It.
They had Jackass the movie. I think it was part 1 or 2, and they
the paper cuts. Shut up!
I looked away. I couldn't watch it. I just ran out the.
No, I can't watch.
So
that
anyway,
either.
the special. But the thing is, the other special effects, like the gore, like this movie, seriously is fucking fucking toe. It's brutal. I couldn't believe the gore in this film. And the thing is, there's
some good stuff.
I'd seen some GIFs before. Like I saw the one where he spits in the guy's face and his face melts off. And I was like, I just kept forgetting. I just forgot it was because the movie's so bland. The first like hour of this movie that I thought it was it was nearly PG-13. But when the gore happens, motherfuckers, it like to me that brought
when that guy's face melts off, that is actually like that was the first time I was like, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's still alive. Like he's whimpering, and you see his face is a fucking skull, and he's like, and I was like, holy shit! And then there's a guy who gets caught on a very slow moving elevator. He's like, oh, and then his fucking head explodes. I was like, oh my god. And what I don't understand is that the fly shoots acid on that one guy's face and it melts off. He shoots acid on who's this guy? Scorby, the asshole security guy.
The security.
He just has like a very light burn on his hand. I was like, no, his hand would be gone because like that's the same sort of acid that burnt off the other guy's face from the hand from the first movie. Scorby is I guess. Here's the thing: they're trying to make everybody an asshole. I don't think those people necessarily.
That guy's an extra asshole, though.
Do you think those people necessarily needed to die? Any of those like the scientists?
I'm happy they did. They were all jerks.
Yeah, no, they were all jerks. But that was sort of like he went insane. Like he I don't know. They didn't show what he did to the woman. The other
like a fly
that was a really cool scene though when that security guard walks into the one gets his face burned off. He like opens the door and the fly throws the guy's body at him. Like, that was a cool scene because it's like a one-take sort of practical shot, and then, like, he opens the door and the body's on the floor. That was a really cool fucking shot. Obviously, the guy getting his face ripped.
I'm trying to remember what he does to Bartok.
Bartok, he just split. He bends him backwards.
Oh, yeah, he splices him into the...
He bends him backwards, which I think
that was a really silly concept.
He should have been more graphic with that. And the thing is that
the putting the... how can he get rid of all of his disease and put it into something else?
Yeah, and they mentioned it way earlier in the film. Because I think in the original film, I had forgotten that Jeff Goldblum's character wanted to take Gina Davis and mutate them into one perfect being. And this one, it's the opposite.
No, in this one, he teleported all of his bad genetics into one
Well, yeah,
person.
He reworked the program to do that. Instead of merging one thing, it actually separates... I don't know. That sounds like horse shit.
So I guess that's pretty cool. If you had someone with cancer, you could put all the cancer into like, I don't know, like a dog or something. Like,
Mutates the dog into the Incredible Hulk. Like it's different for dogs. But yeah, I think it really, like, the special effects and the brutality of the last half of it. Like, I don't understand what the fuck will happen to Martin Brundle at the end of the film, because they do kill. Anton Bar. I had seen the ending of this film.
He's like perfectly fine now.
For some reason I misremembered the ending of this film. I remember what's his name? Bartok coming out as that mutated creature. And I could have sworn, for some reason, I always thought they were feeding him shit, like big piles of shit. Because, flies eat shit. And I misremembered I thought it was just a guy eating shit, but obviously it's just like some sort of milk. Weird.
That would be cool to do to your enemy. Turn them into a fly monster that still remembers it was a human, and then shit into a bowl.
Yeah, that was a good effect though. That whatever the fuck that guy turned. I actually felt bad for him, even though he was a piece of shit.
Yeah, but when he turned into a fly is what I don't understand.
I don't understand what he did. Yeah, I don't get it. I guess because his genes wasn't built for it. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
But he's stuck, and it's supposed to be.
I think it just doesn't make sense.
It's a nod. It's a nod back to the dog being mutated, and now he's living in the this chamber. I like how the cops don't give a fuck that this company, Bartok Industries, can just like, kidnap people and make them do as they will and stuff, and report it to the police. Yeah,
teleport monsters.
Like I don't get it. Anyway, yeah, so it's a pretty bland film for the first hour until the last 40 minutes. I think. What were your issues with the film overall?
I mean, what you said is pretty bland, and then all of a sudden it just got really stupid.
Fair enough.
I like the gore though. I do like the gore.
Fantastic.
And it was actually surprisingly. I expected it to be much worse than it was. So
yeah, the movie.
I went in expecting this movie to be fucking terrible, and it wasn't.
As a horror film itself, as a science fiction film, it's very there's nothing about it at least the first hour of it screams nothing good about it, because then it becomes like a weird slasher movie at the last half of it. Yeah, and that's the weird.
So the best thing I could say about this movie is it wasn't completely horrible.
No, it's true. And the weird thing about the film is that the first film it's because it's Cronenberg. It's like a direct science fiction body horror, and that's what the focus is. There's no focus in here because they're trying to make it a slasher and a body horror, but the body horror is not really an issue because there's only two really instances of body horror, like when his arm is has that weird cut in it, and he's trying to
that was from the needle.
Yeah, and the needle, that was a gross scene when the needle shot out the blood. That's the part that I was like, ugh. Everything else I was like,
One time I got a needle from the doctor, and when she was changing the thing, it just started squirting out. Oof. It was really gross.
Right. So yeah,
it was going with my pulse.
To me, the movie was a 5, but the brutality of the latter half of the film, the gross and gore effects, woke me up and made it a 6, really, because that stuff was great, all that shit. But it doesn't make any sense that he becomes a slasher monster. I understand why he's pissed off, and I guess I guess flies would kill us if they had sentience. I don't understand.
I don't know.
But I mean, it's just.
I feel like they would just eat our shit.
This movie has no real direction to what it wants to be. I think they were trying to make it like an Aliens as opposed to Alien. Do you know what I mean? How that expanded the film, and then I guess they try to expand it with here, but there's no real expansion to it. I did like the use of Jeff Goldblum footage. Obviously, the second half of the footage was from the first movie, but I don't know if the first half, in that first footage of him being interviewed, if that was footage from the first film, or they paid him to be in an extra scene.
Well, I'm looking. It says uncredited archive footage.
Okay, so then those must have been footage from the first film itself,
unless I don't recall. But I remember thinking that too. Though.
But I'm pretty sure if that's archived from the first film, I'm pretty sure those are scenes with Gina Davis, and I think they replaced her voice because the voice sounds like from somewhere else. It's like a woman's voice, and I could have sworn it was Gina Davis's character talking.
When I watched it, and I had just watched The Fly 1, I felt like I didn't recognize some of those scenes.
Really?
So,
okay.
Yeah, but I'm also stupid, so I don't know.
So, okay.
So his name is Martin Davis, Fly in this.
Gina Davis turned down the role because she said the baby dream sequence in the original film was emotionally upsetting, and so she was replaced by a different actress. Okay, the first videotape...
There's no crying in The Fly 2.
The first videotape of Seth Brundle, where he theorizes the teleporter improved them is actually okay. So it's a deleted scene from the first film. Very smart.
Oh.
The scene was slightly edited for this film, and Veronica. There, I was right. Veronica's Gina Davis's voice was dubbed over by the woman who replaced her in the film.
Look at you.
Yeah, look at me. I'm a smart man because it's so badly dubbed in. I couldn't believe it.
I mean, why even bother dubbing it in? You don't even hear Veronica
they gotta pay.
talk.
They gotta pay Gina Davis extra cash for it. That's why. She only says like 3 lines.
It was a deleted thing from the first movie.
Maybe the director was like, Gina Davis, she's a bitch! And he just like got rid of it.
I don't want her having any connection.
Originally, Keanu Reeves was offered it, and then also Vincent D'Onofrio was offered it.
What, the role of Gina Davis?
No, of Martin Brundle. Vincent D'Onofrio, he's an interesting actor. Heard he's a real asshole.
I do not
Mel
like
Brooks
him.
actually produced the first Fly remake. That's interesting. Mel Brooks. Oh, here it goes. Mel Brooks suggested to Chris Wallace that Daphne Zuniga play Beth Logan. Remember, because she starred as Princess Vespa in Spaceballs. Very good.
Yeah.
Did he? Oh, did he produce the first one? I know he produced the Elephant Man. Like he actually produced some serious.
I actually
films.
had no idea he had any connection to horror.
Well, I don't know if he had something to do with this one, but I know he did the Elephant Man, but that's like a serious film. Like that's actually there's like really sad scenes in that movie. So Martin Brundle was born 7 months later after Veronica. Okay, so it's 7 months later after Veronica Quaife.
Veronica
Her last name
Quaife.
is Quaife.
She is one fine piece of ass.
Oh my God! I know a guy who got with her and they got it on. Woo! No, you didn't. That's right. I just like that her name is Veronica Quaife and you didn't make a queef joke.
No, I thought about it, but I would never degrade a woman's vagina juices and gases. In
Gary
such a way.
Chalk Scorby was a comedian, and people who knew him were concerned about him playing a serious role. Oh, I like
Who?
Scorby, the asshole security guard.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I mean, you know, whatever. It's not that good. The movie's not that good.
And he plays Dr. Light in Mega Man. We found out.
Yeah, he plays. He's now helping the.
He's a warrior of light and love.
So, what's your rating for this film?
I'm gonna give this film a 5. I give it a 5. 5 out of 10. Finding your horribly mutated dog friend years later, and no, actually, I got a better one. Being a 5-year-old man in a or a kid in like a 30-year-old body, having sex with a woman. And the thing that she's most upset about is that you were a fly and not that she's having sex with a 5-year-old.
Yeah, you're right. No, she was more upset that she was videotaped doing child molestation.
Yeah, that too.
I would give this movie.
Could you get in trouble for that? Do you think she could get in trouble?
I would assume you do.
I mean, if okay, because like say I had sex with somebody and like let's hypothetically
sure.
They were hypothetically
not something you met off the dark web.
No, I'm saying if they said they were 18, but they said they were 18, but they weren't. I could get arrested for statutory rape. Could she get arrested for having sex with a 5-year-old?
I don't know.
Because they said they were older?
I would be fooled. I'd be like, hey, she's not going. That's what happened with Tracy Lords. Remember, she had all that fake ID. She was like 16.
I don't know who that is.
You ever seen Blade 1? Remember the first vampire woman?
Yeah.
She's like she used to be a porn star, and she was like she was like the hottest thing in porn for a while, like in the late 80s.
She was like 16?
She was like 15, 16, and she had a fake ID made for her.
Oh, they must have called out
they tried they tried to arrest all the guys, and they were like, listen, dude, like, she had a fucking ID. They double-checked this, but, nobody ended up getting really prosecuted for it, but they made her some sort of, like, valiant hero.
Yeah, but 5 is pushing the limits.
So anyway, I'd give this movie a 6 out of 10 just because the effects at the end are really fucking great. It's a very boring movie from the first half. It's not a terrible movie, but it's sort of bland, just with Eric Stoltz's character. I don't care about anybody in this film. I just like the gore and the cute dogs in the movie.
I like Princess Vespa.
So I'll give it a 6 out of 10, giving a strange woman that fly dick. He was giving it to. You think he was like, you want this fly dick? And he was like.
Maybe.
So with that, Danny, what's the final word?
Space balls.
The horror deconstruction.